Limpopo government is promising a safe season with no deaths at the initiation schools, which open on the 14th of this month. The province is confident that its tighter measures will ensure the safe return of hundreds of initiates who will be embarking on the rite of passage. For more on this, Limpopo's Co-operative Governance MEC Basikopo Makamu joins me now. MEC, great to speak to you this afternoon. I'd like to start off with a look at the numbers in the past of young people that have lost their lives during the initiation season. Do you have those stats readily available?
Good afternoon, Hugo and the viewers, and thanks for having me on the program. Yes, the previous financial year we had the most numbers because we lost 3 of our 2 boys and 1 girl. And it's something that as a province we are working so hard that we should be able to avoid. Mainly because there are some measures that we normally put in place. I was attending a workshop where all the traditional leaders who are holding permits, but also traditional surgeons together with the caregivers, that we will expect them to do, but also to clamp down on illegal initiation schools. I had the sessions with the SAPS and together with the NPA. But I'm doing this program collaboratively with my colleague MEC for Health, Dr. Popira Matupa, who will always make sure that we visit and support the initiation schools across the province.
MEC, in those 3 deaths that you speak of last year, were you able to establish what the causes were?
Well, there are some which we found out that definitely the girl did not necessarily take along the chronic medication that she should have taken, and we are emphasizing this time around that a medical certificate should be completed by all the initiates that will take place, and make sure that those that require to take along the medication should be able to do that. But in some instances, it will be some of the things that we cannot necessarily be able to share if the families did not necessarily allow us to continue, because we should be able to still stick to that confidentiality for these individuals. But we are doing everything to curb anything that it's something that we have learned out of the previous years.
Okay, now you've talked about a few things, so let's talk about these specific measures that the Provincial Initiation Coordinating Committee implemented this year to ensure what you've called a death-free initiation season. In fact, you've gone as far as promising that there will be no deaths this season.
Look, we started this process not necessarily this year. We opened or issued a circular to all our traditional leaders that they should be able to make applications somewhere around November. And the closing date was supposed to be somewhere around January. But what we did is to make sure that whoever was not complying, we extend the application thereof. But we have put in mechanism or measures. One of them is that we will not allow any incomplete form for any of the initiates to get to be accepted in our initiation schools. We are going to make sure that we look at what the Act provides for, the age, the restrictions that we are looking at. We are not going to accept any child who is under the age of 12 years as prescribed by the law. But also we are not going to allow anybody in this province to operate an illegal initiation schools, because there will be no compliance there. We have already gazetted all the initiation schools in the province, and we are saying to the parents, we request them to only take their children to approved legal initiation schools to avoid any surprise from any illegal people who will want to do certain things.
MEC, that development paves way for my next question, which speaks to what role do parents and guardians play in ensuring the safety of their children during the initiation season?
They must make sure that they help us to take the people who are healthy as well. If people are still under the age, they must not go and request and force the traditional leaders to say, even if a child is 6 years, let them. They must help us and comply with the legislation. But also by taking children to what is called a legal initiation schools, they must not take their children on, because there will be no supervisions, there will be no monitoring on those illegal initiation schools. So I'm calling upon the people of this province to work with us as government. Our phones will be 24/7 available. They should be able to visit the Gazette, see which areas, which initiation schools are legally approved, so that they can take their children there.
Now, how do you plan on identifying which schools are illegal and have not been approved or sanctioned? What are some of the processes or mechanisms that you've put in place so you can root out these individuals?
Well, I say nowadays, with the way democracy has brought into the space, is that a senior traditional leader working with the headman where the initiation school will take place will also consult with the community. So if they have consulted that they have the intention to have the initiation schools, they should be able to go inform the community. Once the community or the department has approved through the PICC, they should be able to go back and say, our application has been approved, we'll be able to. If the application has not been approved, they should also go back to the committee and say, we did not necessarily get approval because of 1, 2, 3 compliance measures that we could not meet. And as such, that will make the parents know exactly which one is legal. But like I said, we have gazetted all our initiation schools now. People are free to get to our gazette and be able to see in their community when people start the initiation schools. But we have made a workshop together with the SAPS in the province. They are alert now to say wherever they think or start to have initiation school, they should be able to get there and check if the people have got the approved permit, and they will be able to support immediately a permit is shown. But if the permit is not there, we're going to clamp down and close that initiation school as soon as possible.
So what legal action will you take against these imitation schools or schools that have not been licensed?
Well, you know, the country is a constitutional democracy. The law enforcement agency must play their role. The judiciary must also play their role. Anybody who is found to be on the wrong side of the law, it will not necessarily be me as the MEC or the Premier, but the law enforcement agency together with the judiciary should be able to do their work. That's why the workshop that we had will include the NPA, will include the SAPS, so that we can be able to work together and clamp on this illegal, because it's rife.
And finally, MEC, you've talked to us about engagement, certainly with the owners of the school, various authorities. Have you had any engagement with families or some of the initiates, just to talk about their expectation and give them confidence that you're doing all you can to protect them?
Well, one of the platforms you have created for me, Hugo, here that I speak to, it's not only you, radio platforms we are doing. I even made a communique myself that will try to talk to the parents all over the province, so that they can be able to know exactly how should they get more information. So platform like the one you give me now, it's the platforms we appreciate that we should be able to continue to communicate with the parents out there, how they should be able to handle themselves under the circumstances, including discouraging caregivers that they should not abduct any person. It should be voluntary for children to visit or to go to the initiation schools. We are not forcing anybody. It's our cultural heritage. And we discourage anybody who will want to utilize this as a commercial activity and want to make money out of the cultural rite of passage that we as Africans should be able to comply with.